know the most important button and switches here. If you don't see the option, by the way, to toggle and switch modes, you can right click here and go to columns. And here you can make sure that you have modes selected. So maybe you don't see it here. So make sure you right click, go to columns and check modes. You can also customize your columns here. Make sure you have all the same settings I have, or if you need some other settings, feel free to add them here. One more thing, here we can like go into the comp, make the comp bigger and smaller. Yes, cool. I think we have talked a lot about the timeline window. This is one of the most important ones. That's why it's worth spending so much time. Let's move on to the preview. This one is not so much. So pretty much the most important thing here is you can freely move with your mouse pad, which is pretty cool, by pressing spacebar. Of course, pressing spacebar is going to play the clip, but if you hold spacebar, you can see the cursor changed to the hand. With the hand tool, you can freely move, and it's super cool to zoom in with the mouse pad and zoom out. And like, this is a really fast way to move here in that preview window. If you moved somewhere and you can't find your window again, you can just go here and yes, choose fit, and it's going to make your comp fit to the preview window. Of course, you can also zoom in here manually, which can be helpful, but I prefer using the mousepad. I think it's way faster. Next up, you can just set the resolution of the playback. So full is obviously showing the full quality. I usually play around with half or third, depending on how complex my composition is, how many layers I have, and what kind of effects I'm using. Here, the button is also pretty cool and important. You can toggle transparency grid. So if we are deleting that red solid, for example, this area is black, but in reality, it's transparent. So everything we move or we place at this area is going to be seen. So this can also be really helpful to toggle this on and to see where your layer is transparent, where your comp is transparent. All right, so you know what is this button for, the toggle transparency. Perfect. All right, next up we have the region of interest button. I don't really use that one. Here, this is pretty important. Toggle mask and shape path visibility. When I choose my mask tool here up to the top, the pen tool, I can draw a mask and now I'm seeing the path. But if you toggle this one, you won't see the path, which can be helpful sometimes if you are getting distracted by the path, but maybe you're wondering why you don't see your path of your mask. So just make sure you have this toggled on. Yes, awesome. And these two buttons, like the region of interest and choose grid and guidelines, I don't really use. Well, the guidelines and the grid can be really helpful. So that's the grid and that's the guides. Let's turn off the grid. Let's turn off the guides. Here we also have here the rulers, which can be pretty helpful because now you can drag in rulers and, for example, make your target point here right in the middle with the rulers. And now you could track a shot and yeah, make sure everything is centered and always at the same point. And yes, so you can just turn them on and off here using this toggle grid. Now you can also turn on the safety lines. So if you're editing for short form content, for example, or any other content, you have that safe spot so you don't put important parts too close to the edges, which could be cut off when you upload your video. Another thing is here that take snapshot. You're pretty much taking a snapshot. So this is pretty much just a screenshot. Cool. So that's the composition window, like the window here we are working in. One more thing. It could happen that you have a couple of windows opened here. So for example, now I have two windows here, and sometimes you're in your main comp and you're searching for the layer you were working on. For example, the selection layer. When you did your selection here, make sure you choose the right tab here at the top so you can see actually what you're working on. For example, when I also going for the rotoscope, it's going to open up another tab. And here I can now select and cut out my talent, for example. To see what's actually happening in the main comp, I need to switch back to that composition pre-comp 1 preview. Otherwise, I'm in that working area, which I selected for the effect. So make sure you are in the right tab.